It's been a week since we've had One Up Nitro National Series racing on track. Been a couple weeks, but now the One Up Nitro National Series is the sole attraction for this week as we head off to Phoenix Raceway, a beautiful mile oval set in the Arizona desert for 78 laps of racing action to get round number 3 of the 2025 season underway. And alongside me to bring you all the action once again is Duke Ansack with you, with me, and with all of us once again. Great to have you with us for this race, because we go from a technical mile-long racetrack in St. Louis to a technical mile-long racetrack here in Phoenix. A lot's similar, but a lot's very different about this place too. And just sum up for me, explain why that's the case.
Well, both of these tracks, including the last one we went to and this week's, they are both 1 mile long, like you said. They're both largely flat in the corners, so they're going to drive pretty similar, but there is one massive difference with this Phoenix Raceway, and it is the dog leg section. So really this track is almost like a 5-turn course. If you can imagine that, there's almost 2 straightaways on the front straightaway with that massive dog leg, and it's got a ton of pavement on the inside lane. So we're going to see these cars spread all the way out on restarts, and of course the start of the race, and then during the rest of the racing. You're going to want to cut that to really get a big advantage, but you have to be careful. You could damage your car down there by dropping down off the banked part onto that flat apron. So it's going to be a lot of fun today. This track is fantastic. If you enjoyed last week's race, you should enjoy this one as well.
And taking a quick look at the top 20 after that racing gateway, seems as though the Jeff Bolton Racing team has things figured out for the most part. Ryan Reed, the Daytona winner, has a 12-point advantage over his teammate Mac Johnson in the 18, as Fords have the entire top 5 in the standings. Jared Shank in the 95, Blair in the 5, their pair of teammates, they start out back today, so they might take a hit in the points this week. And Brandon Smith, he's a guy we've kept our eye on all season long up to this point. He rounds out the top 5, but I would expect it's still early in the season, I would expect these points to shuffle quite a bit as the season gets underway, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. There's only been a few races, and the total point counts are pretty low. So you could absolutely turn your season around today if you were to have a really great day, even if you're as far back as 30th in the points. I really think that one great day could absolutely flip the script on this season. So it should be a lot of fun to see what everybody does. I think that everybody learned from the last race, and they've brought what they learned from St. Louis here to Phoenix, and I think it's going to be another fantastic event, and I can't wait to watch.
So now, as we can bring you the starting lineup for today's 78 laps of action, we have a first-time pole sitter in the Nitro National Series, Angel Gutierrez, the rookie, fresh off his strong run in the turbo trucks a season ago. He gets pole position here at Phoenix with David Meske alongside him. Meske's got a lot on him riding in this race, because he is a go-home car for the first few weeks of this season, but the way he's been running in 2025, I would expect him to break out of that go-home territory as soon as the first opportunity presents itself after race 5. Alexa Luchon, Braden Varga had some interesting starts to the season. They fill out row 2, with Jensen Nomina completing the top 5 ahead of Brandon Smith and Jake McMillan, who's looking to become the second driver to achieve One-Up's Triple Crown after missing out on being the first to Joshua Michaels last week in the Superstar race. But there's a lot of other drivers to keep your eye on in this field, and as we look through it, see where your favorite driver starts. Who is the one driver that I didn't mention in that top 10, or maybe even beyond that, you think could make some noise here today?
Well, it's interesting, because looking at this group, I really think Angel Gutierrez has a fantastic opportunity this week. But you said somebody that you didn't mention, and this is the same person I mentioned a few weeks ago, but it's Alexa Luchon starting in 3rd place in that 31 car. An extremely impressive starting position from that team. A strong run a couple weeks ago for that car. I think that today could be possibly that team's day.
Well said, for sure. But we've done enough talking. It's time to see some cars on the racetrack. So with that being said, we have 42 of them ready to get the action underway, and we're ready to bring that action to you. It's the 1UP Nitro National Series from Phoenix Raceway, and the green flag getting ready to drop on the field. Get this great race number 3, underway. Getting ready for a true duel in the desert at Phoenix Raceway. It is Gutierrez and Meski on the front row. Gutierrez wasting no time getting the jump on the field as the green flag flies. We are underway, but Gutierrez has got a huge launch on the field. He sails off into the lead as the field of 42 barrels off into turn 1.
Yeah, that was a fantastic start from the 72. You saw just in the middle of that corner there, where that restart zone is, it totally allows you to just get that huge jump on the whole field. So 72 way out front right now ahead of the 29 car in the second position. And there's Braden Varga in third or fourth fighting on the outside lane. That car absolutely needs a good run after a couple of really tough results so far this season.
Yeah, and he's holding his own on that outside lane. The outside's going to come into its own later on in the race. Probably won't be that great on the start, however, and it's showing. But it's 9 cars under fire from Jensen Nomina and a few others. But look at back here. We got 3 wide for looks like the 9th position between Ryan Reed, Riley Hooper, and how about Maston Rimmel in this 96 car, making his and the team's first start of 2025. Started a brilliant 10th, but I would expect that equipment to slowly fade through the field until he finds a place to settle in and ride.
Yeah, he's really going to have to get to that bottom lane. Like you said, the outside might be good a little bit later in this race, but right now on fresh tires, the start of the race, no rubber down, you really want to be on that bottom lane. It's the fastest way around. And you can see there in the dogleg, a lot of people dropping below that yellow line. There is no out of bounds here at Phoenix Raceway. It is all fair game. If you can make your car drive down there below that yellow line, you certainly can make the attempt. So here we are. Those 72 had that huge advantage off the start, but now the 29 car right on his bumper.
Yeah, David Meski's doing a fantastic job, and this was a bit of a question mark going into the 2025 season. Finguy Saitomi Motorsports opening this second car, taking a bit of a gamble, signing on Meski to drive it. I'm sure he won that Daytona race last year, but that was a bit of a wild card event, and he didn't do much else that season. But he's proving, in a top-tier ride, he has the ability to race, and race well.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with David Meski this year. I mean, right now, sitting within the top 20 in points and 13th. Just a fantastic start to the season. Of course, there are only 2 races in before this one. However, that's a fantastic way to start. And then, likewise, Angel Gutierrez sitting in 20th in points, not too far behind David Meski. So these two running up front, very impressive for those two teams after a great start to the year prior.
Yeah, and well, for Gutierrez, we kind of expected it after a strong run in the trucks last year, but Andy had a few good runs in a part-time campaign in this series as well. But running full-time here is a completely different story, and Gutierrez is making the most of it now with a solid lead out front.
Yeah, it's good right now, and I'll tell you what, this is interesting to watch. Just everybody has kind of gone single file a little bit here. You'll see some people choose to go a little bit below. That is a big transition right there, as you can see how spread out they are towards the back of the pack on that camera shot. But yeah, you kind of can get a little bit of damage on your splitter if you go there. And here's a move for the lead. I didn't know if he was going to be able to make it, but David Meski is down low and might be able to lead this lap.
Oh, he sure does, by a very slim margin over Angel Gutierrez, but he leads that lap. I believe that is Meski's first lap lead of the season, and a very strong performance, it's got to be said, out of this 29 car. So move Meski to the top spot on lap number 9 as Gutierrez settles back in the second, hopefully to try and make a rebound later in the race. But you got to keep in mind, these tires are going to fall off. The fuel is going to burn off, and we're going to have a round of green flag pit stops if everything stays clear and green the entire way.
I'll tell you what, I really wasn't expecting David Meski to make that move. When he did, he came out of the corner, had a really great run, and he dropped low, but it really, I don't know, it didn't look like he was going to be able to get to the inside of our leader, but he certainly did, and he just drove right by in turns 3 and 4 right here, and then down into the dogleg. So that was a great move for the lead.
And another guy I've noticed that's marching his way to the front of the field, this 28, the Daytona winner, Ryan Reed. He started back in 13th. He's already gained 5 spots up into 8th place. Currently trying to chase after Jake McMillan in the 21, who had a decent run at St. Louis before fading to a 7th place result. He really wants to get a win, though. That's the whole reason he came here.
Yeah, well, Ryan Reed has a points lead to defend right now. Only 12 points over Mac Johnson. But of course, so early in the season, the points, not a huge deal, but to be the points leader, I'm sure feels very good for that 28 team. So definitely you want to defend that as much as you can to try to keep that lead throughout the season.
And look at this. We've got Brandon Smith on the inside of Alexa Luchon. This is the fight for third, and it looks as though, yep, there he goes. Brandon Smith clear, almost, and he should be fully clear going down into turn 1. So move Brandon Smith up into third place, where he can try and set up after Gutierrez to try and make it an FPM 1-2.
Yeah, and this is tough for Alexa Luchon right now. Got caught on the outside lane, and now everybody is going to take advantage. The 62, the 21, and the 28 as well are going to all try to go low on this 31. Now that she's able to kind of enter the corner on the outside, should be okay to defend that position a little bit more. We'll see. I don't think we're late enough in the run for that to really be advantageous. We'll see, though. The 31 looking pretty good on the outside right now.
Yeah, and it's going to come into its own later on in this race, the outside line will. And I think it's already starting to get there. We've had some people run up there the majority of the day so far as we enter lap 15. So Luchon should be able to, she cleared Nomina again for fourth. So she's able to tuck in fourth, just ride out for now, hopefully get a feel for a race car. As Ryan Reed, man, he has taken off. He's passed both McMillan and Varga to move himself up into 6th place.
Yeah, that 28 car is a rocket ship right now. Definitely full force right now, putting the pressure on everybody trying to climb up through this field before we have our pit stop cycle. It'd be really good to be as high up in the running order as you can, to be as close to the leader as you can before the pit cycle. Speaking of which, here's the 92 making a move for the 2nd position.
Yeah, Jeffrey Finguy's got to be watching this race with a big smile, because he is watching one of his drivers leading this race by a comfortable margin, and he's watching the other driver put a real good bit of pressure on Angel Gutierrez to try and take the 2nd spot away and sweep the top 2 positions.
Yeah, it's looking really good right now for that whole organization. They've both passed that 72 car, and this is going to be clear for the 92. So, hey, a great textbook couple of passes from the 29 and now from the 92 to get in those top 2 positions. We'll see. We saw David Meske start to drive away as soon as that car got some clean air. We'll see if the 92 can do the same. Looks like he will.
So I think now for the FPM teammates, it's going to be as you were, just run in line in formation, trying to make sure everything's good for the rest of the race. As we look back here, this is Nikki Martinez, and boy, did she make a storm of news in the week off, because this will turn out to be her last race in the Nitro National Series for the time being. She announced she's moving up to the Superstar Series starting in Atlanta, with Shantley Daniel, one of her Superstar drivers, taking her place in the Nitro car. So it's going to be a shame to see Nikki Martinez go, but I'm looking forward to seeing her race on Sunday.
Absolutely, and that's huge news for pretty early in the season here. But so I would say it's crazy news for mid-season news. We're really not to the mid-season yet. It's only race 3. But regardless, congratulations to that team and everybody involved to try to shake things up, try to get things going. I think that's a great move, and it should be a lot of fun to see how that plays out for everybody involved.
Meanwhile, we're doing a little through the field here, so where your favorite drivers are running. Maston Rimmel's kind of found a spot to ride in about 18th position. Still a strong run for that 96 team. And Andrew Langley, Ryan Soper, these guys trying to find a way past the 96. They've got better cars, but Rimmel's got some good track position as well. And here's a guy I was a little surprised about. AJ Zhao, he started 11th today, but he is backslid now. He's all the way back to about 23rd position, battling Elijah Ironhouse for 22nd. So maybe the setup's not right with this 12 car, but Zhao's been off to a bit of a slow start this season. Not what we were expecting.
Yeah, that's it's a little bit interesting to see which cars are good week to week. You know, it's only the third race that we have this year, of course. So kind of tough to judge based on those first three. But yeah, that's a little bit of a surprise.
Meanwhile, looking a little further back, you see that one racing team cars a little further back than we're used to seeing. And here at the very back of the field, we see the 17 car, Will Parrish. He's making his one-up debut today in a bit of bizarre circumstances. The team he started out with, Monarch Engineering, sold the team, went to New England Cruisers Racing, and now that team is a three-car outfit with Tegan Fox, KJ Hayes, and Will Parrish. But unfortunately for them, the 44 and 17 running in the bottom two places at the moment.
Yeah, that's not where you want to be running right now after a big shakeup. But of course, things get a little bit wild when you have all that different stuff going on. So, not exactly a surprising result for them, but definitely disappointing nonetheless. And now we look back at our leaders here, and not a lot has changed up front. David Meske continues to lead the way, about a half second ahead of his teammate, and behind them, it's just steady as she goes, maybe until the pit stop here.
And unless I'm mistaken, this is the most laps led for David Meske in any one-up racing series event. So kudos to him for putting it up front and keeping it there the entire day. As we look now at Jake McMillan and Braden Varga battling for position, Riley Hooper sticking his nose in as well as the battle for 7. I think McMillan's got a little faster car than a few of the guys in front of him. Maybe not Ryan Reed, but if he can get to Nomina, get to Lucian, I think he could challenge for a top 5 position here.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this a lot of these cars that are kind of here just outside the top 5, really fast cars. You're kind of stuck in that traffic, so it's a little bit difficult to make moves, but we see Ryan Reed, who has been fast. McMillan, of course, is fast like usual. So we'll see these cars start to move up through the field here as the race progresses, but if they could get a big break, maybe with a yellow, some sort of track position gain, we could really see one of these cars take it to the leaders that have been out front all day.
And you saw Ryan Reed complete the pass on Jensen Nomina, but Nomina is going to try and fight him back. You see him in the background, that blue car and the yellow car, side by side for 5th. So you look now at Brandon Smith. I don't know if he's got the car at the moment to challenge his teammate, but maybe after the pit stops, maybe after an adjustment's been made, maybe he can take the fight to his teammate. Because keep in mind, Smith is a rookie in this series. He had a great run in the Truck Series last year. Meske's got a year under his belt in this series, so it's really hard to gauge which one is the number one driver at that team right now. I think the result today would help us figure that out.
Yeah, I certainly agree. You know, and you never really want to compare the drivers to each other, but that is the easiest thing to do considering they're driving largely the same equipment by being teammates. So it'll be fascinating to see. I think that 92 really needs some clean, fresh air on the nose of that car. So maybe they could do some trickery with the pit stop strategy and possibly jump ahead of the team car there that's ahead of them, driven by Meske. I think that could be a big moment in this race and possibly flip the fortunes of those two drivers.
Well, we'll see, because we're closing in on half race distance, which should come at about lap 39 of this race. We're about 10 laps from that now. So these guys, they got a little ways to go until their pit stop, but I think they're just settling into a groove here, feeling their cars out, getting ready to make adjustments on it on that round of pit stops. Because I think Meske, he wants to keep that clean air on his car.
Oh, yeah.
Because the fall off here is so high that an early pit stop by one of his competitors could flip the script and put them ahead of the 29.
I definitely agree. I think that with that 29, they're probably going to be watching a little bit farther back in the field. You know, I think if even as far back as just 4th or 5th, if one of them pits I think that 29 is going to have to pit the next time by to defend. I don't think that they need to start this cycle of pit stops by being the first on the pit lane. However, you can never be too safe, too careful with this kind of thing, and you have to try to beat your teammate here, who is running within the distance that you would be able to gain by getting fresh tires just one lap sooner. So it'll be fascinating to watch how that all plays out. But the thing that I'm a little bit interested in right now is that the 92 has started to gain some time on the 29, and the 72 critically is starting to fall back.
Yeah, so I think Brandon Smith finally got into that window where he's feeling good about the car, but I think the problem he's got is the closer he gets to his teammate's bumper, the more that dirty air is going to affect the Bass Pro Shops Mustang, and they want to work together as much as they can, secure a 1-2 result for the team. However, it's gonna be tough to deny Brandon Smith a win if he thinks he's got the faster car. The problem is, how do they tell him one way or the other?
I know it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. Usually, when you're chasing somebody and starting to make gains, even by running the exact same lane, you'd start to move around a little bit, move up, move down. See if you could get some air on that nose. But right now, that 92 just kind of staying put right behind, following the tire tracks of the team car leading the way.
Meanwhile, we've got a battle for fourth on our hands. Ryan Reed, strong performance out of this 28 car. He's gained 9 spots, 9 spots since the start of the race. He tried to make a move on Alexa Luchon, but the 31 shuts the door and defends that 4th place.
That's been a fantastic battle all day so far. That whole group of cars that we're watching right here, pretty much from 4th on back through like 8th or 9th there. But yeah, that's been a fantastic battle. And we'll see what happens when the 28, I think that the 28 should be able to get by the 31. And when that happens, the 28, I think, might be able to make some big gains on our top 3 that have kind of pulled away from everybody else.
And a bad day for Will Parrish is starting to get worse. We're hearing word that he's got some sort of engine problem in that 17. He's able to keep going, but he's losing about 2 seconds a lap to the leaders and even to the cars directly ahead of him. So they may be able to fix it on his pit stop, but that's just a tough way for a guy to make his first start in the series with a not terminal engine problem, but one that's really going to hamper his progress.
Yeah, I guess we're right at that point in the race where you can kind of make that pit stop, and it's at the right time at least, so they can at least fall back on that and maybe make something happen there. But meanwhile, the 28, Ryan Reed, has now passed up into the 4th position, so that should be good. I'm fascinated to see what kind of speed that car has with a little bit of a gap ahead to the next car in line.
And keep in mind, if they don't pit within the next lap or 2, they're going to catch this 17, the leaders are. And lap traffic, we have not seen it play a factor so far today, but if that 17 really is 2.5 to 3 seconds a lap slower, where they catch him could really shake things up.
Yeah, you really don't want to catch him on the entrance or the exit of the corner. You want to catch him in the middle or on the straightaway so that you can go by. The engine problems are probably showing the most in the straightaways, I would expect.
Yeah, he's able to keep up in the corners, but the very end of the straights, he's 10, 12 mile an hour slower than his competitors.
Yeah. So you'd hope that you could make that pass there. We're going to find out. I don't think that, if this was a line of cars, if this was the back of the field, I would consider pitting before you have to make any passes there. But since it's just one car, we're about to see, look at that big gap. Oh boy, he caught him at a really terrible time. He's not able to get around, so his middle of the corner is going to be impacted here, and so is his exit. He's going to have to stay low on exit. Oh boy, and then on exit of the corner, they're fine. It's just the top of the gear that's kind of bad for the 17, so that is really kind of the worst spot. But it really hasn't impacted him that much. We'll see. He was at just less than a second.
Yeah, he lost a 10. Lost a 10.
Yeah, about a 10.
Yeah, and look, Brandon Smith's able to get him right where he wants him to be.
Yep. That's the ideal way to pass. I don't think that's too big of a deal for David Meske. I think it might be a light frustration, but they'll be telling him on the radio to shake that off, keep the lead here. Just didn't really lose all that much time, so all good in the David Meskey camp.
And meanwhile, Jake McMillan's about to make a pass on Alexa Lucian for 5th place. We look a little further back, see where everybody's running at this stage of the race. But yeah, McMillan right on the back bumper of Lucian in their battle for position as Meskey's the first to blink on the pit cycle, and he's bringing Gutierrez with him.
Okay, this is interesting. I think this is a good call. I like seeing all the cars a little bit farther back pitting. I like the 72 following the leader in. I think that could mean one position on the track. I don't know if I would have stayed out if I was driving that 92 car. We'll see how that strategy plays out.
He does get a point, though, for leading.
You do get the point, so that's, I mean, the point, or do you want to try to win this race here? And now he's going to have to contend with all these cars exiting their pit stalls at this point. So here's another point for Ryan Reed. I think that's a good call to get a championship point for the 28. Let's see how this works out.
Yeah, I think for Brandon Smith, he wanted a tire offset to his teammate to try and close the gap late in the race, because he knew he knew as soon as the 29 pit that he needed to build a tire offset. The problem is, yeah, if the 72 gets by him, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. I think that this strategy is very good. I think it's a bit of a sleeper strategy. You're going to lose some time initially, but you're going to have a 2-lap tire advantage. We'll see how big that is.
The 60 car is actually going to get a 3-lap tire advantage because Mike Edwards stayed out another lap.
Mike Edwards, very fascinating strategy. I'm not sure if we'll get to really see how this plays out kind of in the middle of the pack with all those other cars, but yeah, that's a fascinating one. Here is the difference between the 29 and the 92 now. It has grown that gap. What has happened to Angel Gutierrez?
Well, he must have had
all the way behind.
Yeah, must have had a bit of a slow stop as you see Will Parrish come down pit road to hopefully go under the hood, see if they can fix that engine problem. He may fall another lap down as a result of that. But we're looking to see, yeah, Meskey has about... Well, he's got about a 1.5 second lead over his teammate now. And, oh, look at this. Robert Weaver had a really slow stop. He comes out a lap down and just in front of his teammate.
That is unfortunate for that whole organization in that situation there. Here's Jake McMillan making a move on the 28 car. A little bit warmer tires, a little bit older tires for that 21.
But they are heated up to temperature, and that's probably gonna be what gets him past this 28 if he can make it past, of course. How about Austin Scott in this 82 car making his first start of the year with Venta Motorsport, his second start of the season overall, and he's climbed up into the top 10. In fact, he's the highest placed Venta Motorsport car.
Yeah, that is fantastic for Austin Scott.
Yeah, and as well, Eric DeMax in that 16. Strong run for the rookie. Lucian had a bit of a poor stop, falling all the way back to about 14th. And speaking of poor stops, these two right here, Wyatt O'Quinn and Hayes Green, they have some sort of issue each that is really going to ruin their day.
That is so disappointing to come into the pit stop, make that pit stop, and then have to be sitting there watching all the cars drive by lap after lap. It's just a gut-wrenching feeling sitting there on the pit lane watching the race pass you by. I'm interested. That was a fascinating pit stop cycle. It didn't play out exactly how I expected. I really thought that one lap tire advantage that a lot of cars got would result in a bigger difference of position. Of course, one of the cars was Braden Varga driving the 9. He came in on that first cycle of stops, and he gained about 3 positions. So he's right behind this battle between these two cars. So he gained a few spots, but it wasn't as much as I expected him to. And then again, our leader, the 29, only gained about a second over second place. And then, of course, the 72 must have had a slow stop here, Angel Gutierrez, because he totally has fallen. He's lost time in the pit cycle, which is not the way that strategy was intended to go. So fascinating pit cycle, but really it hasn't shaken things up all that much.
No, but what it has done now is it's given Ryan Reed a rabbit to go chase after, that being Angel Gutierrez. And I think, here's Will Parrish. He's back on track. They did get his engine problem mostly sorted out. He's now 2 laps down, but he is able to keep pace with his competitors now. He's only about a half second off pace instead of 3 seconds off. But yeah, if depending on how quickly Gutierrez can get past the 17, if Ryan Reed can get past the 72, I think he could have something for the teammates out in front.
I agree. I think that's the car really that has shown the most speed so far. He unfortunately started all the way back in 13th, so that long run speed really has been the benefit of that team, but just not enough time. I think that maybe one yellow somewhere before that pit stop or maybe right around now would be really beneficial for Ryan Reed, who's making this pass now on Angel Gutierrez to the bottom, going through turns 3 and 4. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know what's gone on with his 72, but ever since he lost the lead on lap 8, he just hasn't really had the speed we saw at the very beginning of the race. Maybe it's the clean air versus traffic, I'm not sure. But, I mean, this is still Gutierrez's best run of the season, no doubt, but what could have been for him?
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the time on a 1.5 mile or super speedway, you'll see cars that are set up really, really well for qualifying for 1 lap single car runs.
Yeah, like the 96 was today. He was definitely geared for that.
Yep. And it's interesting because they'll be good. They'll be really good out front, and they'll be really good in qualifying. But today it's interesting. Phoenix isn't really a track where you have a lot of that, where the cars that go faster don't drive as well. But maybe that's what's happening with the 72. Lost that lead, got in the dirty air, and now that car is kind of just somewhere not where it needs to be to perform at the same level it did in qualifying.
Yeah, we saw a quick look at that 96. He's found a spot in about the top 20 to hang out. Still a very good run for that team, as we said. Meanwhile, Hayes Green and Wyatt O'Quinn both back onto the racetrack. They are each 4 laps down, and if they're not going to make all of those laps up in the time we have remaining. We only have about 22 laps to go here. But what I'm curious about, that 92 has a tire offset 1 lap to his teammate. He's picked up about 3/10 in the last about 3 or 4 laps or so. If he keeps that upward trajectory, he could get there.
Yeah, I agree. Here's a battle happening on the outside lane between the 72 and the 9. That was something we haven't really seen all day. 2 cars on the outside lane battling it out, but looks like Braden Varga is going to complete that pass now over the 72, who, as this car falls deeper in the field, is just falling more and more quickly. Very disappointing second half of the race for Angel Gutierrez, but I agree. I think the 92 is gaining time. I think the 92 might be a little bit faster than the 29 as well, but not enough faster. We haven't seen enough faster to really break through that kind of half-second gap as soon as you catch and are in the dirty air in the corners. We'll see if the 92 can get there after whatever adjustments they have made, plus their 1-lap tire advantage.
One thing he's got to keep an eye on, though, is that car right behind him. Robert Weaver has about a 2-lap tire offset to Smith. I know he's a lap down, but that 66 could really bring some annoyance to Brandon Smith. If he wants to unlap himself, which he has every right to, if he were to try and do that, that would really impact the 92's ability to catch his teammate.
Yeah, you almost would consider at that point just kind of letting him go.
And follow him up there.
Yep. I agree. It's a dirty air situation as well, but I don't know. Right now, I don't think it's critical, but you got to consider running out of laps in this race.
Yeah, if he's going to make that decision, he needs to make that decision now, while there's still laps left in this race. But even still, he's gaining time. He's about 1.3 off the lead, and I don't know. Weaver's got a faster car on account of those fresher tires, but can Brandon Smith find a way to let the 66 pass without losing too much time, and then use the 66 as sort of a magnet to draw up to the back of his teammate in the 29 of Meskey?
Yeah, well, he just gained over a tenth on that lap.
Yeah,
So
he needs to keep doing that, but the problem is now Weaver's trying to unlap himself.
Yep, gotta let him by right here. Just let him clear. Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Just let him. Oh, never mind. Don't fight him. Don't fight him.
Yeah,
just let him go by.
He really needs to tuck in behind the 66. Let him beat a rabbit to chase after, like we said earlier. Yep. But Smith really wants this, and honestly, yeah, he lost that 10th he just gained. He needs to let the 66 go now.
Yeah, and you really have to be careful because a car that you don't want to let by is Ryan Reed, who is gaining time on this little battle that just occurred. So the 28 car, like we were talking about, very fast, has had a little bit of clean air recently in this race. They've been working on that car and how well it handles in the dirty air of the pack. So I think that 28 car might have something to say, but you just have to be careful if you're driving the 92 because you don't want to allow that 28 to really interfere on this battle. We'll see if he can gain more time on this lap. Gain time on the last lap.
And that was while he let Weaver pass as well. So he gained time even when letting the 66 through.
Yeah, well, now he's able to use so the dirty air, it's a disadvantage in the middle of the corner. On the straightaway, however, you will draft a little bit, so you're kind of, like you said, a magnet. You're almost following that car ahead, and I think that this is a big deal right now because that 66, I believe, is the fastest car of these first four. Of course, a lap down.
And but the thing is, if he pressures the 29 enough, forces him into a lane he doesn't want to run, that could really let the 92 up forward.
Yeah, you got to just follow that 66 through. We'll see. Yeah, another 10th gained on that lap.
If he keeps that up, he'll be there.
Smith. Yeah, he will certainly get there. We've got enough time in this race that this could certainly turn into a battle as long as the 66...
the engine's gone! On Mesky, the leader! It barrels it off in the corner, and the teammates collide! In the 3 and 4, the teammates at Fingai Saitomi come together, and that is going to end both of their days. Ryan Reed to the lead. Caution is out on lap 67. This race turned upside down in a matter of seconds.
I am speechless about that. That was a moment I have not yet seen. That was heartbreaking. Wow. What a moment in this race.
And that's taken the two best cars that we've seen all day out of the race. I mean, Smith's still running. He's in 6th place. Mesky is definitely done for today. The problem is for Brandon Smith, he might be in 6th place, but look at all the damage on the front of that 92 machine.
And the rear, he backed it into the wall as well. So that car
goodness.
certainly is not going to have the speed it did before. And wow, our points leader, Ryan Reed, who absolutely tore through this field, is now been handed the lead of this race and is going to have to fend off against the 21, the 9, the 69. I mean, that is outrageous. I have not seen something quite like that. I mean, what a moment.
And Robert Weaver got his lap back and all that as well. So, but for Fingai Saitomi Motorsports, this race has gone from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in a matter of seconds. As it looks like Kanalka in the 7's got a tire going down. They'll be making the trip to pit road to correct that. But so much of this race has just been thrown into turmoil, and we only have 11 laps to go now. I mean, no one could have predicted this. The engine on the 29 just expired down the back straightaway, and Smith must have gotten into the oil, and he could not avoid plowing into his teammate.
Oh, well, there was a lot of smoke pouring out of that 29, and the 66 didn't know where to go either, so, oh my goodness.
What?
I've never seen something like that. I mean,
that is a new one, but the two teammates, this is not going to do much good for their inter-team battle at Fingai Saitomi. They had the two best cars here, and Smith's still in it, but for David Mesky, he led 55 laps today. All gone. There's a lot of smoke, but Smith trying to go around the 66, and he didn't expect the 29 to go up, or that's just a miscommunication to end all miscommunications there.
Honestly, yeah, I think that the 29, David Mesky there, he was kind of blocking the 66. I think that he was in a position he didn't want to be with the 66 closing in so fast, so he moved up the track, and then the 92 was right there. I don't know if there's really anything else you could have done about that. If you're Brandon Smith, I mean, maybe you go all the way up to the top of the track. It's so dirty up there, though, with the marbles.
I mean, what other choice do you have? Because David Meske did the right thing. He was trying to get out of the way of Robert Weaver right behind him. What he didn't anticipate was Brandon Smith coming in at a huge rate of speed and just wiping them both out.
I know. I genuinely do not know if there's a better way to handle that. I mean, because if you're David Meske, you don't want to just put it in the wall to avoid everybody. Wreck your car. I mean,
his race was over.
I don't know, and it was so weird at the entry of the corner. I mean, he got down, but then he was in the way. That's just really tough. So the fascinating part about this is that the 92 car has not come into the pit lane and has kept that sixth position.
Yeah, he is going to be a sitting duck on this restart.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna pass him like he's standing still. He's not going to win this race. But the question is, can Ryan Reed go 2 for 3 to start the season? He's got a hungry Jake McMillan behind him, Braden Vargas back there, 2 Roberts Racing teammates. Oh my goodness.
But here's the crazy part about all this. The 28, Ryan Reed, has the biggest tire advantage of all of these leaders. So the 28 car is in a fantastic position. We're going to see what happens. This is going to be a shootout.
Green flag back in the air. This race, well, it's changed for better, for worse, who knows. But for Ryan Reed, this is absolutely what he wants. He leads for the first time today, and he sends it off into turn 1. McMillan and Varga, they're going to go battle side by side for second. And look at, Brandon Smith.
Yeah.
He has not got any speed left in that 92. They're passing him on all sides.
I think that was a big mistake to not bring that car into the pit lane. I think he might have been able to gain some positions from the back if they had just fixed that damage a little bit, but instead they're going to lose all the positions from the front. That is a terrible way for this race to end for them. And meanwhile, Braden Varga now is taking the fight to the second position against the 21, who kind of got a little bit loose up in turns 1 and 2 on the restart, and then allowed that 9 car to get low. So we haven't really seen this 9 car a lot today, on a tire disadvantage to everybody right now after the pit stops, but doing a really great job in the second place. And I'll tell you, this 9 car started to fall back at the end of our first long run, but that car qualified well. So I think a short run is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Braden Varga team.
Yeah, and now Riley Hooper has also cleared Jake McMillan to move up in the third. We haven't seen what that 69 car can do very well up in the front of the field. Now we got that chance. And how about Eric DeMax? This 16 car for Venta Motorsport, the rookie, is just putting on a spectacular performance. He started 17th. He's now on the verge of a top 5 finish.
Yeah, great job from that 16 team today, putting together a great car and then also having some solid strategy to get that car where it needs to be at the end of this race. And I am very surprised by the 9 car speed in comparison to the 28. I honestly thought if the 28 were able to win the restart by clearing everybody after the first lap, I thought that he was going to start driving away. But Ryan Reed, it seems like he might just not be handling really any better in the clean air than he was in the dirty air, and it's allowing everybody to kind of stay right up with him, especially Braden Varga driving the 9 car.
Well, we're coming to 3 laps to go. Like you said earlier, Ryan Reed is strongest on the long run, and we're not going to get a long run to end this race. So maybe that's the issue. But either way, he's got the best track position right now. Varga's closing in bit by bit. Is it going to be enough?
I don't know, but think about Braden Varga. He's on Team Duke, and those cars last weekend, or the last race at a very similar track, were very strong, with the exception of his own. So I don't know, it's kind of a bit of a flip-flop in this race, but he is right there on the bumper of the 28 car, coming to just a few laps to go.
Only 2 laps to go, and the gap's under 2/10, so this is going to be really close, but Reed's starting to pull a gap out once again. We're coming to the white right here. That could have been the move Ryan Reed needed to make.
I don't know what happened there. I think that Ryan Reed just had a really good corner. Braden Varga got right up to his bumper, and then all of a sudden the 28 just took off, and now is going to take that white flag with a big gap, the biggest gap he's had since the restart, and this is looking very good for the 28 car.
Absolutely, this is looking very good indeed. So, this probably wasn't the outcome we expected, especially at the halfway point of this race. But for Ryan Reed, this season could not have gotten off to a better start. He rounds 3 and 4 for the final time, and he becomes our 2-time winner in 2025. Ryan Reed, mission accomplished. He wins at Phoenix.
Wow, a great run from Ryan Reed. Really had an incredible car all day. Was it the fastest car? I don't know. I don't think we'll ever find out the answer to that. But it was the car that will end up in victory lane today. A very, very good job to be in the right place at the right time. And we've got a little bit of spinning on the track after the checker.
I think that's just a big pack trying to make their way all to pit road at the same time. But career win number 4 for Ryan Reed. Excellent stuff from him. He's already matched his total from last year in the first 3 races. Great stuff from him. But for Brandon Smith, he didn't fix that damage, and his punishment, a 38th place finish, only a few spots ahead of his teammate who finishes last.
That is so upsetting for that whole organization. I don't think there's going to be any bad blood between the two of them. I think that they'll watch it and say, really, there was nothing either of them could have done. A freak accident leading to another freak accident. That's just unbelievable. That moment in this race, and for Ryan Reed, also unbelievable for Ryan Reed. I think that race was definitely handed down to him, and he had to earn it on the restart. But that was very interesting. What could have been for the 29 and the 92.
Very well said indeed. But that is going to do it for us for this race at Phoenix Raceway. From Duke Ainsack and from myself as well, thanks for joining us for quite possibly one of the most chaotic races the Nitro National Series has seen in many a long time. We'll see you again next week for more organized chaos at Atlanta Motor Speedway next time. That is going to be a whole lot of fun to see 42 cars blast around that old racetrack. But we'll see you guys again at Atlanta. So long from Phoenix. Congratulations to Ryan Reed, second win of the season in only 3 races. Picks up the pieces after the Fingai Saitomi teammates collide late in the race. He picks up career win number 4. Had to do it the hard way, but he is your winner today at Phoenix.